Hey everybody, Kim here with Little Biz Resources, and I just gotta see if I'm actually live here and if it's starting or not. It says I am on my screen. Okay. I don't know what kind of delay there is on this. Seems to be quite a bit of a delay. Of course, I'm looking at it on mobile, so who knows? I'm actually live here. Yeah, see, I had to restart it. Great. Okay, there we go. I am definitely live. I have sound. I'm good to go. And if anybody's on, let me know. And then I'm just going to go ahead and jump into this so that way anybody who's watching on the replay doesn't have to wait too long. All right. And I'm sorry, I'm just getting over whatever my daughter had. She gave it to me too. And I'm just getting over that. So if I start coughing uncontrollably, I apologize. So today, let's jump into, we've been having some questions about Facebook groups, and there's some changes that are happening to Facebook groups. So first thing is I'm going to talk to you about how you can join Facebook groups, right? So I'm on Facebook. This is my personal Facebook page. Yours will look different. And here on the left side for me, it says groups. Yours, again, may look different. You may need to look around for this. But if you click groups, you got your groups you've joined. And this is your feed from different updates in your groups. But if you go to discover, you'll get new groups. Now, suggested for you is typically just because, like this is near me. This is because I'm interested in Pinterest. And then this is probably related to another group I'm in. Then these are groups that your friends are in. So if you're like, hey, I want to stalk them or do what they're doing, you can look through that. And then there's more suggestions. Again, a lot of these are based on searches or interests that they have stalked you with. So congratulations, you can now see how creepy Facebook is. So what you do want to do eventually is you can go through these and find ones that you're interested in. But let's go ahead and go into one. I'm going to go into, I'm going to do advertise only because a lot of these advertised groups are public and they don't care who joins. So I'm just going to show you them. Sorry, hopefully that I paused it long enough. I had to cough there. Okay, so let's see here. This is a public group. I think, yeah, this means I've joined it already. So visit group means I've joined it. And you may need to go back to groups again when you search, by the way. All right, so these are all public groups that I've been in. Most of them are not very active. That's part of the problem, is that if you're looking for groups to join, you can see I'm in a lot of them. Almost none of them are active anymore. And so here's one, advertise your business pages groups. That's Singapore, Malaysia. It doesn't really apply to me. Be your own boss, advertise and promote yourself. And you can actually, open it in a new tab and look and see, because it's a public group. The way public groups are actually changing here pretty quick. And it means that if you manage a public group, you're going to have to, play with your settings and stuff, because basically now people don't have to be a member of your group if it's public in order to post in your group, which means spam galore. But supposedly Facebook is adding in a bunch of things for admins to be able to prevent that from happening. But I will say, from what I read, it looks like it's still a lot more work for admins. So it's, I don't know, our group is private because I want people to be able to post without having it be public. And so I keep it private, so it doesn't really apply to me. But if you are like one that doesn't want to join and you want to be able to post, you can still be able to do that. So when you come in here and you want to join a group, that you just have join group. So like this one, first of all, I want to take a look at it. The last time people have been posting 3 minutes ago, 14 minutes ago, and it's all stuff that does not apply. But you never know. If you have something that you just want to put out there and see if anybody is interested in it, you could post it. But these are groups that look like they have very little monitoring when they're putting fish in holes and stuff. So of course you want to read the about, promote your BYOB home-based business here, invite others. And I don't really know what the point of inviting a bunch of people to a group is anymore, because it used to be that groups with the larger groups would get more people joining, a lot more activity, So I don't think that's not really a strategy anymore, though some people probably still think it is. So anyway, so you click here and you say join group. Now, you can also see related groups here, which is pretty cool. But if you say join group, now typically it's going to ask you choose how to join group. And this is only if you haven't already joined the group. Okay, so if you already are a part of the group as your profile from maybe before they started letting pages in, and you want to join as a page instead, you probably need to leave the group and then rejoin as the page. And that's just the way Facebook has it set up, that if you're joined as a page or joined as a profile, this is still newer for Facebook, and considering that they're one of the only, group places online still. I mean, I know there's forums and stuff, but like this, then they're kind of get to do what they want, right? So they just have it set to you join one way, either as a profile or as a page. And so like on this case, let's say that I wanted to join as the page, and then I say join group. Now, sometimes they're going to have questions. They're going to have, I'm joined. Okay. So I've joined as the page right there. So I could actually come in here now and interact as myself or as the page. Right. And so you can, I wonder if it'll let me do it as myself. I can post. Oh yeah. I can post as myself or the page. That's pretty cool. Again, that's kind of newer. I don't want to do that anymore. Now I have to see how to fix that, right? But that's how you join a group as a page. So when you've joined the group as a page, here we go. Now there it is. I don't know why it went away, but then I can change back to Little Busy Resources because I joined it as that page. Okay. And if you have it, again, if you've joined as your personal profile and you don't see this option, do a refresh like I just did. If you don't see an option to interact between the page and the profile, then you probably need to leave the group and then rejoin. Some groups do not permit pages, right? Like I don't permit pages. You can still do it because I can't figure out how to turn it off, but I'm not going to approve it unless I know you, unless, we've discussed it or you're one of the, core people and I know who you are and stuff like that. Then yeah, I would let you. But there are people, in fact, you know what? I think somebody who joined our group actually joined as a page after the fact. So that's interesting. Yeah, you don't get a choice though. Once you're joined, you're joined. So let's go look at another group that I'm already in then and see if we can play with that. I did a lot of research beforehand and everybody says you have to leave, but let's pretend that I just said search groups, advertise. Let's pretend that I'm going to be looking for something for real, right? Now, I'm going to ask you guys, have any of you guys joined groups as pages, and what is your experience? Like, do you have any type of, I don't know, I guess, advice for people or something you want to share, something that experience that you've had? And while we're doing that, let's see. Yeah, see, no option on this one. Joined. And a lot of these I joined before they had the option to join as a page. So if I wanted to, I would have to, it looks like, leave the group, and then I could join as a page, and then I had the option to go between the two. So yeah, so you'd have to leave the group and then rejoin. So I'm just double checking there. What is up with all these animals coming out of holes? Ah! All right, so that is Facebook groups, and that took a whole 8 minutes. Woohoo! So as far as strategy though, and there's a couple other things you should probably know if you are posting into groups. One, do not overpost. There is no hard and fast rule, and this will vary based on when you joined Facebook, where you joined Facebook, who you know, other groups you're in. I mean, there's so many different factors that play this. One person will have a restriction of posting 3 times in an hour, and another one will have a restriction of posting 50 times in an hour. But I will tell you that if you are one of those that isn't restricted and you can post lots in an hour, don't do it, because it's known that your reach is reduced and it's almost like a shadow post. So you only want to do a couple times an hour, and probably not back to back. So like you post once, come back 10 minutes later, post in another one, come back 10 minutes later, post in another one. And because of that challenge, there's actually software out there that people can access and they use to make sure that they can post in, 10 groups a day or something. And they spread it out throughout the day so it doesn't look as suspicious, and they don't get tagged by these silly Facebook issues. But I'll also say, if you go from posting no times per day to posting 20 times per day overnight, that's another flag, right? So even if, hey, you are okay doing 20 times a day, you have to still build it up. And this is just, Facebook is really trying to reduce and be on top of, hey, we don't want people spamming, we don't want people doing this. So then the other thing is, let's say you have one link, right? Which hopefully you don't. You have multiple links. But let's say you have one link and you're like, hey, I just want to promote this one thing and I want to share it into like 15 different groups. Once you get past like 3 or 4 groups, it tends to no longer have a reach in the remaining groups, and sometimes not in the first ones. So if you can, you should do something like, if you have ClickFunnels, you can create, 3 or 4 different pages and they have different URLs, and then you can post, in one group, a different one in another group, a different one in another group, etc. So that's one way to do that as well. And that's to help with the reach, because it's not beneficial to be posting if nobody ever sees it. Though I will say it still minimizes the reach. There's just Facebook is that way. I don't want to see that snake anymore. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to our group. How about? So then all right, now we're in our group, right? There we go. Now from strategy as far as, hey, I want to be able to post and drive traffic back. Facebook, you're just going to have to keep testing, right? And yes, I know you want to test the same link over and over again, but again, just try to swap those out. Limit the amount of times you post in a day and try to spread it out over, time. So those are pretty much the big things with Facebook groups. And look, I made it a few more minutes without coughing, so that's good. So I don't see any questions so far, and hopefully I answered the one about the Facebook, about posting into groups as a page, because I know that's there's like no real direction from Facebook on how you're supposed to join. They're like, just join a group. And then when they changed it to pages, they didn't really say anything, and it just kind of happened. And I think they gave me a little notice while I was joining, but most people don't join groups. Oh, so let's actually cover that too. If you want to join a lot of groups, don't do it. Just don't. Join maybe 4 or 5 in a day, skip a day, 4 or 5, skip a day. And you might want to ramp that up eventually, but I don't see the point. If you can only post into so many groups, you're better off doing quality groups than quantity. And I do understand that takes some testing. Like, I'm in a ton of groups, right? And it wasn't until I tested them all that I realized that, wow, they all are horrible. And the reach is just minimal. But if you're doing like a high ticket affiliate marketing or something, and you're trying to do free traffic, Facebook groups is the way to do it. And all it takes is, one person coming from those groups where you're making money from that, right? So yeah, I see that, but it's all going to be testing. It's going to be testing on how your account can handle it. Again, when you signed up, where you signed up, where you currently live, who if you are friends with somebody who's a spammer, you're going to have probably restrictions and you don't even know it, right? There's just so many different silly rules that Facebook has, and that's part of the reason why I don't stream to them, right? No, I'm just kidding. That is actually the reason I don't stream to them, because there's like no reach even on live streams. So, yeah, that's it. For those who have been missing some of the content, we'll pick it back up again next week. I've been sick. My daughter's been sick. We're moving. It's just been kind of a nightmare for us. And I couldn't do any recordings. I still am having a tough time breathing and everything. So anyway, I don't see any questions. Let me double check on this one, because it doesn't say. I don't see any on here either. Okay, well, if you guys do have questions, hop into the Facebook group. You can post them here, of course, after the fact. And you can come live next Thursday. We'll be live again. Oh, and by the way, I totally forgot. It's Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. And thank you so much for those of you who have served. I mean, if I wasn't moving, I'd probably be a little bit more on top of it. But wow, I mean, it's an amazing day today. And I hope that everybody took some time to, thank those who have served. And I know I appreciate it. I appreciate my freedoms and ability to come in here. So come in and talk live on YouTube, right? That's one of the freedoms that we have. So again, I thank you for those of you who did come on, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.